What
Antes
if
de ir para a
everything you
cama,
do
você
before
precisa
bed
fazer isso.
is
É um
quietly
passo simples
destroying
que
your
pode
gut,
salvar sua
and you
saúde
have had no
cardiovascular.
idea until
Não
right
ignore este
now?
aviso.
Most people think about gut health in terms of what they eat during the day. They take a probiotic in the morning, they try to eat more vegetables, they cut back on junk food, and those things matter. But there is a window of time that almost nobody talks about. The hours right before you go to sleep, and what you do in that window can either accelerate your gut healing or silently undo everything you worked toward during the day. Tonight, that changes. In this video, we are going to walk through exactly what you should be doing for your gut before bed, backed by the science of what actually happens inside your digestive system while you sleep. And if you stay until the end, you will hear about one simple nighttime habit that most people have never even considered, but that researchers are now calling one of the most powerful things you can do for your microbiome. Let us start with why the night even matters. Here is something that surprises most people. Your gut does not simply shut down when you fall asleep. In fact, the hours you spend sleeping are some of the most biologically active hours your gut experiences in an entire 24-hour cycle. During deep sleep, your intestinal lining undergoes active repair. Cells that were damaged throughout the day by inflammation, stress hormones, and poor food choices are regenerated. Beneficial bacteria reproduce and colonize more aggressively. The migrating motor complex, a wave-like cleaning mechanism in your small intestine, activates and sweeps out leftover debris, undigested particles, and excess bacteria that do not belong there. But here is the critical part. All of that repair and restoration work depends entirely on the conditions you create before you go to sleep. Send your body into the night with the wrong inputs, and the repair cycle gets disrupted. Send it in with the right ones, and you wake up with a stronger, more balanced, and more resilient gut. So let us talk about what those right inputs actually look like. The first thing to do for your gut before bed is to stop eating at least 2 to 3 hours before you sleep. This sounds simple, but the science behind it is more important than most people realize. Your digestive system runs on your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock, and that clock is wired to slow digestive activity significantly as you approach the nighttime hours. When you eat close to bedtime, you are forcing your gut to process food during a phase when it is biologically preparing to shift into repair mode instead. The result is that digestion becomes slower and less efficient. Food sits in your gut longer than it should, bad bacteria have more undigested material to feed on, and the cleaning cycle that your small intestine is supposed to run while you sleep gets delayed or skipped entirely. Research has shown that people who consistently finish their last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bed have lower levels of gut inflammation, better microbial diversity, and fewer symptoms of bloating and discomfort compared to people who eat close to bedtime. Finishing dinner earlier is not just a weight management strategy. It is one of the most fundamental things you can do to protect and repair your gut overnight. The second thing to do is drink a cup of ginger or chamomile tea about an hour before bed. This is where a lot of people underestimate the power of something they already have access to. Ginger tea contains active compounds called gingerols and shogols that have been shown to reduce gut inflammation, accelerate gastric emptying, and calm the smooth muscle lining of the intestinal wall. If you regularly deal with bloating, cramping, or that heavy feeling that lingers after dinner, ginger tea before bed works directly on those sensations by relaxing the muscles that are causing them. Chamomile tea, on the other hand, acts through a different mechanism. It contains a compound called apigenin that binds to receptors in the nervous system and reduces the activity of the stress response. This matters enormously for gut health because the gut and the brain are in constant communication through the vagus nerve, and when your nervous system is still running in a stressed and activated state as you get into bed, your gut cannot transition properly into repair mode. Chamomile tea helps bridge that gap. It calms the nervous system, reduces cortisol activity, and signals to your gut that it is safe to begin the restoration process. Either of these teas works, and combining them in a single cup is even better. The third thing to do is take a short, gentle walk after your evening meal. Even just 10 to 15 minutes of slow walking after dinner has been shown in multiple studies to significantly improve gut motility, meaning it helps food move through your digestive system more efficiently before you go to bed. When food moves through your gut at the right pace, it spends the appropriate amount of time in each section of the digestive tract. Nutrients are properly absorbed, and residue does not accumulate in your colon, where it can become food for harmful bacteria overnight. Walking also stimulates the vagus nerve, which directly activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch of your nervous system responsible for rest and digestion. This vagal stimulation reduces gut inflammation, supports the production of digestive enzymes, and begins shifting your body into the calm, repair-oriented state it needs to be in for the night ahead. You do not need to exercise intensely. In fact, intense exercise close to bedtime can actually raise cortisol levels and disrupt your gut's overnight repair cycle. Keep it slow, keep it gentle, and think of this walk as a direct investment in what your gut is going to do for the next 8 hours while you sleep. Now, before we continue, if you want to give your gut additional support beyond just these nighttime habits, there is a product linked in the pinned comment below this video that has been specifically designed to promote microbial balance and support gut repair. A lot of people are using it as part of their evening routine and finding that it complements everything we are talking about today really well. Take a look when you get a chance. Now, let us keep going, because the next habit is one that almost nobody connects to gut health, and it might be the one that makes the biggest difference. The fourth thing to do is practice deep diaphragmatic breathing for 5 minutes before you get into bed. Stop right there, because if your instinct is to skip past this one, that would be a serious mistake. The gut-brain connection is one of the most heavily researched areas in gastroenterology right now, and what scientists are discovering is that the state of your nervous system at the moment you fall asleep directly determines the quality of your gut's overnight repair cycle. When you breathe shallowly and rapidly, which is what most people do during a typical evening of screen time and mental activity, your body remains in a low-grade sympathetic state. The sympathetic nervous system is your fight-or-flight system, and when it is active, blood is redirected away from your digestive organs, gut motility slows, inflammatory markers rise, and the beneficial bacteria in your microbiome actually experience stress responses of their own that suppress their activity. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, where you inhale slowly through your nose for 4 to 5 counts and exhale fully through your mouth for 6 to 8 counts, directly activates the vagus nerve and triggers a parasympathetic response throughout your entire body. Within minutes, blood flow increases to your digestive organs, inflammation markers drop, and your gut lining begins to receive the signals it needs to shift into active repair. 5 minutes of this before sleep is not a wellness trend. It is applied physiology that works every single time you do it consistently. The fifth thing to do is sleep on your left side. This one is specific, practical, and backed by anatomy in a way that is genuinely fascinating. The position of your body while you sleep has a direct mechanical effect on your digestive system, and sleeping on your left side takes advantage of the natural geometry of your gut. Your stomach is positioned slightly to the left of center in your abdominal cavity, and when you sleep on your left side, the gastric opening sits above the liquid content of your stomach, which means stomach acid is far less likely to travel backward up into your esophagus. This is why left-side sleeping is consistently recommended for people who deal with acid reflux or GERD, and the reduction in acid exposure directly benefits the esophageal and gastric lining over time. But the benefits go further than just reflux. Your large intestine moves in a specific pattern through your abdominal cavity, ascending on the right side, crossing horizontally, and descending on the left. When you sleep on your left side, gravity assists the natural movement of waste through the descending colon, supporting the overnight transit process that keeps your gut clean and your microbiome environment balanced. People who switch to left-side sleeping often report less bloating in the morning and more regular bowel movements. And now you know exactly why. The sixth thing to do is avoid screens and bright light for at least an hour before bed. You may already know that blue light disrupts melatonin production and hurts sleep quality, but the direct impact on your gut goes much deeper than most people understand. Your gut microbiome has its own circadian clock. The bacteria in your intestines cycle through different phases of activity across the 24-hour day. And this microbial clock is directly synchronized with your body's master circadian rhythm. When blue light from screens delays or suppresses your melatonin signal, it does not just push back the time you fall asleep. It disrupts the timing of your entire gut microbiome's activity cycle. Beneficial bacterial species that should be reproducing and producing protective compounds during your sleep phase miss their window. Harmful species that should be suppressed by the overnight immune response get an extended opportunity to multiply. Studies have shown that chronic circadian disruption, even the kind caused by regular late-night screen use, is directly associated with reduced microbial diversity, increased gut permeability, and higher levels of systemic inflammation. Turning off your screens an hour before bed is not just about sleeping better. It is about protecting the biological timing of your entire gut ecosystem. The seventh thing to do, and this is the one that genuinely surprises people most, is to take your probiotic supplement at night rather than in the morning. Most people take their probiotic first thing in the morning, and that is exactly when it is least effective. Here is the reason. Stomach acid levels are highest in the morning when you first wake up and when you eat breakfast. That concentrated acid environment destroys a significant portion of the live bacterial strains in your probiotic before they ever reach your intestines. But in the evening, several hours after your last meal, stomach acid levels drop substantially, and when you take a probiotic right before bed, those live organisms pass through your stomach in a much lower acid environment, arriving in your intestines in far greater numbers and in far better condition. Even more importantly, once those beneficial bacteria reach your large intestine at night, they enter an environment that is perfectly set up for them to establish, colonize, and reproduce. Because the overnight repair cycle your gut runs while you sleep is the exact phase when new bacterial populations are most able to take hold. Switching your probiotic to bedtime could double or triple its effectiveness without changing anything else about your routine. That one simple shift is arguably the highest leverage thing on this entire list. So let us bring it all together. Your gut is running one of its most important biological programs every single night, and whether that program succeeds or fails depends almost entirely on what you do in the 2 to 3 hours before you close your eyes. Finish your last meal early enough to give your gut time to prepare. Drink ginger or chamomile tea to reduce inflammation and calm your nervous system. Take a gentle walk to support gut motility and vagal activation. Practice deep breathing to trigger the parasympathetic shift your gut needs to enter repair mode. Sleep on your left side to support overnight digestive mechanics. Turn off your screens to protect your gut's circadian rhythm. And move your probiotic to bedtime to maximize its impact when your microbiome is most receptive. None of these steps are complicated, and none of them require you to overhaul your entire life. But done consistently, they compound into a level of gut health that most people never experience because they are simply never told that the night matters this much. And if you want to accelerate your results even further, remember to check the link in the pinned comment below. The product there is specifically designed to work with your body's nighttime repair cycle and support the kind of deep microbial restoration we have been talking about throughout this video. Your gut does its best work while you sleep. Give it everything it needs to do the job, and the way you feel every single morning will never be the same.